Ever wrestled with software that just, well, refuses to behave? That sort of nagging feeling of bugs hiding somewhere.
Absolutely. That quest for reliable code, it's a constant battle.
Yeah, and that's what we're really digging into today.
We are. We're looking at two pretty major ways people tackle software quality: test-driven development, TDD, and, well, the newer kid on the block, AI-assisted testing.
Exactly. We've got some really interesting material here that gets right to the heart of both, what they do well, and crucially, where they fall short.
Kind of like a fast track to understanding them.
Yeah, think of it that way. So our mission today, explore how TDD and AI testing fit together.
Mm.
Are they like opposing forces?
Or maybe they can work together.
That's the question. We'll
Yeah.
get into why TDD, when you do it right, is actually so powerful.
And the common mistakes, too, because people do get it wrong.
Oh, yeah. And also why just relying on AI to do all your testing, well, it might not be the magic bullet some folks think it is.
Okay, so test-driven development first, PDD. It often gets boiled down to just write tests before code.
But it's much deeper than that, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's a whole discipline, really. A design philosophy.
Yeah. The material we've looked at calls it a design philosophy, a feedback mechanism, a safety net, all rolled into one. It really makes you think like someone using your code right from the start.
You're forced to ask, what's this supposed to do?
How do I interact with it?
What are the weird edge cases?
And thinking about testing up front, it kind of naturally pushes you towards smaller, more focused bits of code, doesn't it?
It does. Clearer responsibilities. You avoid those huge, tangled functions that are just impossible to test later.
Definitely. And that core loop, red-green refactor, that's central.
Super important. So
Sure.
red, write a test you know will fail because, well, the code doesn't exist yet.
Right. Then green, write the absolute minimum code to make that specific test pass. Nothing more.
And then refactor. You look at the code and the test. Can you clean them up, make them clearer, more efficient?
Without breaking the test, obviously.
Exactly. And it's that cycle, that tight loop, that gives you super fast feedback.
Yeah, you're not waiting weeks to find out if something works. It's almost instant validation.
Which, helps keep momentum going and drastically cuts down debugging time later.
Yeah, finding problems when they're small and isolated. Much easier than untangling a huge mess down the line.
It really makes you focus on what the behavior before the how, the implementation details.
Right. The tests themselves become like living specifications for what the business needs. They define what correct actually means.
So what are the long-term wins here? The sources really argue for maintainability.
And modularity. Makes sense.
Right.
Smaller pieces, easier to understand, easier to change.
Easier to reuse, too. And when you do need to change things, that test suite, it's like a safety net.
A living safety net, I think one source called it. I like that phrase.
It really captures the confidence it gives you. You can refactor, change things around, knowing if you break something, a test will scream immediately.
That builds so much trust in the code base, especially as it gets bigger and more complex.
And it's not just about bugs. It also sharpens your focus, tackling one small test, one small problem at a time.
Stops you getting overwhelmed, break it down, leads to tighter code, clearer thinking.
Okay, so TDD. Lots of potential benefits if you do it well.
But let's shift gears. AI-assisted testing. This is blowing up right now.
It really is. And you can see the appeal, right? The temptation to just write the code first.
And then just let the AI handle the testing afterwards. Seems efficient on the surface.
Code first, test later. Let the AI sort it out.
And the tools can be helpful. The sources are clear on that.
Yeah, they definitely have their place. Generating basic unit tests, maybe suggesting some edge cases you hadn't thought of.
Creating mocks, which can be tedious.
Right. Or even helping improve coverage on older code where maybe testing wasn't a priority initially. For straightforward code or retrofitting tests, AI can speed things up.
Okay, so it can be useful for those routine tasks or playing catch-up.
But then we get to the limitations. And this is crucial.
The big one seems to be that AI, well, it doesn't actually understand the why.
Exactly. It sees the code you wrote, the implementation, but not the intent, not the business reason, not the user need.
And that leads to a big risk, doesn't it? That the AI just tests what the code does, even if what it does is wrong.
Precisely. If your code has a bug, the AI might just write a test that confirms the buggy behavior. Green tests, false confidence.
Oof. A whole suite of passing tests validating broken logic. That's not good.
It's like a garbage in, garbage out situation for your tests.
And the sources also point out, if you just code first and use AI after, You miss those design benefits TDD gives you early on.
Right. Thinking about API usability, function scope, breaking things down, AI just looks at the finished code. It doesn't guide the design.
Plus, the AI-generated tests themselves can sometimes be, well, a bit clunky.
Yeah, they can be brittle. Too specific to certain values, maybe they mock way too much or ignore crucial business rules.
You can end up with these huge, hard-to-maintain test files.
And delaying testing just means longer feedback loops. Finding and fixing bugs later is always more expensive.
And at the end of the day, AI can't replace human judgment, can it?
Not for the important stuff. Like, does this code actually meet the business goal? Are we even testing the right things? Is it ethical? That still needs a human.
Okay, so it sounds like it's not really TDD or AI.
No, the material strongly suggests it's about combining them, finding the best of both worlds.
That makes sense. Not picking sides, but using the right tool for the job.
So TDD is positioned as the driver for the core stuff.
Mm.
The design, the main logic, defining the intent, shaping the architecture.
Building that initial confidence and getting the foundations right, thinking before coding.
And then AI comes in as a supporter. Once you have that solid TDD foundation,
AI can help fill in the gaps, suggest edge cases, maybe help with legacy code where full TDD is tough.
exactly, or generate some of the boilerplate, the repetitive setup code.
Okay, so how does that look practically? Start with TDD for new features.
Yeah, use red-green refactor for the core behavior, the APIs. Get that solid.
Then maybe use AI to suggest extra cases, boundary conditions, data variations.
Could do. Or help generate mocks once the interfaces are stable.
But crucially, and the sources hammer this home, you still need to treat tests like code, even AI-generated ones.
Absolutely. Refactor them. Make them readable, maintainable. Get rid of brittle or redundant ones.
It's not just about chasing a high coverage number with AI, is it?
No way. Quality over quantity. Are you testing the risky parts? The critical business logic? TDD helps focus you on that. AI might just generate noise if you're not careful.
And you still need to build a good test architecture. Layers, utilities, naming.
AI can't design that for you. TDD encourages that kind of structure.
So, wrapping up, the main idea isn't TDD versus AI.
Not at all. It's about using both intelligently, recognizing TDD's strength for intentional design and safety.
And AI's strength for speed, scaffolding, maybe generating ideas for coverage.
But that human oversight, still absolutely essential.
We have to decide if we're building the right thing and testing the things that actually matter.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. Think about your own process right now.
Yeah, where does your focus lie? Mostly coding first, maybe with some AI later? Or are you actively using TDD principles?
How could thoughtfully bringing these two together, TDD driving the core, AI supporting through, maybe improve not just your code's reliability, but your whole development flow? Something to chew on.